Hi everyone, thanks for stopping by and taking a look at the video. This is my first attempt at YouTube. My name is Belden. I'm going to be focusing primarily on anime models. Down the road, I may get into the printing process if anybody has any interest in that. I'm going to be doing primarily resin printing, maybe with some filament add-ins here and there, but primarily it's all going to be resin. So I guess let's just jump right into this and see what we can do. I'm going to be starting off with a model that hopefully some of you guys know. This is Shylily. She's a Vtuber. I've been watching Shylily for a couple years now, and I thought this would be a fun figure to start with. So I'm using some Vallejo black primer. So now I put the black primer in, and I'm moving on, and I'm just applying some basic black coats. So I'm just going over doing her hair right now, setting up a couple different layers with this. Her hair is purple, for those of you who don't know, so it's easier for me to start with a dark base than a white. I pretty much, for my primers, I stick between a white and a black. On occasion, I can do a skin toned. I just look at the color, choose what's best, and then I try to mix those colors together and try to make something that looks close to what the pictures online are representing. I'm not trained in any formal training, and I am not an artist. And everything I'm doing is self-taught through either YouTube videos or just trial and error. So if you see some technique I'm doing or some habit that I'm doing that is incorrect, comment below, let me know. I've only been doing this for about a year and a half, so I am not experienced by any means. I feel like I'm just a novice and I'm learning. I'm only just got my feet in the water, and I'm hoping that we can all learn together. So enough of that, now back to the painting. I just finished up her hair, now I'm working on the orca pup. I'm putting in some of the white highlights that is on his underbelly and tail and kind of his side belly. So my airbrush is acting a little weird this day, so I was having some hard time working with it. When I pick up her orca hat and paint the eyes, I get some white blotchy effects, and that's when I notice my airbrush is clogged. So I finish up what I'm doing with the eyes and set that piece aside. Then I take that chance to clean the airbrush and replace the ink, putting in some light flesh and some white. So now what I've done is I've brought some different highlights, and I'm just working on kind of like some highlights and some shading. These are little techniques I've learned over time. As I said, I'm not an artist, so essentially what I'm doing is I'm highlighting parts that are going to be a little bit darker on their legs or kneecaps. So that's what I do with my first layer, is I do all my dark shading underneath. Because I'm not very talented at this, that helps me cover up the mistakes when I actually do like a layer of skin. I can do a couple extra coats and cover up any of the shading I made a mistake on. I can fade it out much easier. I find that painting with an airbrush gives me a lot of room to make mistakes. So that's been a lot of fun. When I do paint with brush to do details, it is much more difficult for myself. So here I'm just kind of highlighting some faces. I have a couple different faces I've been working on. I did 3 different faces. This is a print from Pink Studio, not sponsored. He's a great creator. I highly recommend you follow him on his account. Other than that, as I said, links will be in the description for those as well. I really like this purple, but if you know Shylily, this is just much too bright. As you can see, I'm trying to kind of highlight it, testing the waters here, as I kind of aforementioned about my not being very skilled at picking out colors, so which is great. So I want to encourage all those who don't consider themselves an artist to pick up a paintbrush or an airbrush and give this a try. You will have a lot of fun. At least I did, and I feel like I learned some new skills. And it's a nice break from the day-to-day monotony of work and chores. So you'll notice every once in a while the camera cuts off and I'm painting off screen. I do little touch-ups and hand painting, so I hold it very close to my face and eyes when I'm painting. So unfortunately, the camera angle isn't very good when I do my hand brushing. So I've got this sped up to about 8 times the speed. I did that because this would have been a much longer video if not. So here I am, I'm painting with my brush. hand brushing. Forgive the camera here because of the pieces off to the left. It wants to autofocus on those. In future videos, I'll make note of that and move my drying rack off to the side. So here's a quick little Orca pup. At this point, I'm popping out the Orca pup, and I am just working on that, kind of fine-tuning. I did some brush work, and I didn't like how it turned out, so I'm going back over at the airbrush, trying to cover up some of those real thick brush lines that I made. So I'm going to give it a couple different coats. As you can see, I've got the brush real close. I'm trying to do some fine detail work with the airbrush. I find, again, just the coat and the quality of the airbrush, for me, looks so much better than anything I could ever do with an actual brush. So I'm pretty pleased with how that turned out overall. You know, from a distance, you can't really see the brush work anymore, which is a positive. So over here, I'm just kind of redoing, touching up. I've got white in there, so I'm touching up her clothes, any highlights I may have made the mistake on. And, oh, again, another cut over here. So I apologize for the lighting. I forgot to turn on my lights. I was listening to some music and kind of lost in my own little world painting and get real focused on what I'm doing here. So that's what's going on, is I'm just doing some real quick highlights and some paintings. So I'm going to stop talking for a little bit, and I will catch up with you guys at the end of the video. every one of you is awesome for sticking around. And now I'm just doing a little bit of touch-ups with my hand brush, and that's going to lead into a mistake I made when I dropped the upper torso on the floor. Snapped her ribbon off. I had to reprint one. Luckily, I was able to do this with a filament printer in a matter of just a couple minutes. I didn't want to take the time to set up the resin printer and print such a tiny piece. So all I did was I put it on a piece of double-sided tape, and you saw I applied a couple layers there, some yellow and some red. Here I applied some quick fix glue, and that's all I'm doing is just reaffixing it. Really easy fix, you know, so you can make little mistakes like that, and you don't have to panic. It was an easy fix. When I finish the ribbon, I apply a little bit of thick super glue and some accelerant to the torso to quickly affix it. And then I use Krylon matte finish for two reasons. One, to protect it for handling, and the other to help protect the color from fading. Normally I take time and I fully fit these pieces. As you can see, I've pinned her head. I've pinned a couple pieces. But here I'm making the crucial mistake of attaching everything first. So now I'm just slowly assembling all the pieces, kind of putting them together. Again, totally did this out of order. Made a very novice mistake. Don't do this. Always dry fit your pieces first. I have learned my lesson here. I normally always dry fit my pieces, so this was a bad example, but it's good that I did this for YouTube so you guys can see what type of mistakes not to make. That is actually the first time I've ever put a piece together before dry fitting it. So, you know, even after a year and a half, you still do make mistakes, but that's part of the fun. You learn from your mistakes and you just continue getting better. Here I'm assembling all the pieces, testing it out, and seeing how things are coming together. Now for the display. I did 3 faces. Pink Studio made a handful more than that. But these were the faces I liked. And then I did do both of her hairs. And I really appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day to watch this video. It really means a lot to me. If you like this video and you'd like to see me continue, please hit that subscribe and leave a comment below. Thank you everyone for watching. I look forward to seeing you in my next video. I'm making another Vtuber, so look forward to that. So until next time, this is Belden, signing off.